To meet a man who will be pulling Villa's strings today.
Yeah, Nigel! How you doing?
How are you, man?
Nice to see you. How are you?
Nice one.
We've got a surprise for you.
Outrageous. Is that the real
It's
one?
the real thing.
Outrageous. Got to do a few bleeps here, man. You don't get that off your ass, do you?
We do like a bit of polish.
Yo. It's not putting the ribbons on, man, because that would be bad luck.
No, it'll be bad luck, but you can actually.
But you know,
show
to
it.
put a scarf on it.
Good idea.
It's not a bad idea, man. Proper colours. And like anyone who wants to bring the FA Cup round to my house, it's fine with me. Yeah. Can we fill it with champers now?
Music is his life, but Villa are his passion, even down to naming his pet bulldog after the chairman.
This face is a leader of men. This dog is named after Deadly Dog Ellis. I called him Deadly because, like, you can't name a dog or any member of your family after players anymore because they're so quick running after the Italian lira that they don't stick with the team no more. So, like, the only man I knew that was going to stay with the Villa was, like, Deadly Dog. That face is our chairman. Right, made it.
His loyalty stretches back to when his car was actually more bizarre than his haircut. So what notes do Villa and Chelsea conjure for this virtuoso?
There's one song which is my favourite at the moment, which is like called Chardas, which is the music with the soul of the gypsy in it. And Villa have travelled and we've invented football and we've had ups and downs, and so you've got like kind of... You've got that type of like poignancy of the team, and then you've got... You've got virtuosity, skill, speed, the qualities that we're going to win the cup with, man. And then the Chelsea, how they dive so nicely in the penalty area, signifies the swan. But this is too in tune, so... It is a bit ironic, you know, that this year, when I've, you know, decided really seriously to get back to establishing myself as, like, numero uno, violonisto du monde, like, I've missed a lot of games and we've got to the cup final. So, you know, I'm getting this amazing reward for missing loads of games, and it seems like maybe it's better for the team if I'm not there. They seem to have better luck without me. We've got a far more historic significance in this competition. Like, we won the double before Man United were even thought of, I think, and like...
1890s, though.
Yeah, 1896, man. Come on, you Lions. But, like, you know, I think we've got as good a chance as any. We've got players who are willing to fight on the day, and, like, it's now down to 2 teams, and we've beaten everyone else we've met on the way so far. If we're talking about the top 5 or 6 and us being in that top 5 or 6, all of the others have been involved in the cup final far more frequently than we have, and it's now time for us to deliver.
I'm not sure whether Doug Ellis should be flattered or otherwise. Is there a similarity in your opinion?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, look, they do look quite well here. I think the one on the right looks a little bit happier at the moment, I think. But who knows today? We'll soon see at the end of today how they're getting on.
We're at Wembley Stadium for the FA Cup final between Villa and Chelsea. Beautiful weather, as I've said, so far, as Wembley Way begins to get busy. It's an unforgettable day out. 97, Chelsea's last visit here. 1970, their only previous win. 7 years since we had extra time, which we will today if it's required, and penalties to sort it all out if we can't after that.
I'm quite proud of the fact that I'm the only man this century to have won 4, but if I don't win another one, I don't get a mention in the Guinness Book of Records.
I just want it to last forever. Obviously, a record's there to be broken, and I'm sure someone will beat it one day, but I think you just enjoy them while you've got them.
Most FA Cup final goals Ian Rush was talking about, 5. Next up, a close shave with today's ref.
There'll be more than raised eyebrows at Wembley Stadium tomorrow.
I just got a free digital dish and box from Sky.
Chelsea are on the move. North London, they had tried to keep the location fairly quiet, but as you can see, somebody found out. Guy Havord is our man. Guy, what's happening?
Yes, the remainder of the squad, Richard, are just getting on to the coach already. The likes of Zola and Leboeuf, Desailly already on the coach. There we can see George Ware wearing the glasses. Still technically on loan. I wonder if he might play today. And Dan Petrescu just in front of him. They came out about 10 minutes ago and all signed the autograph so that they could get on to the coach nice and quickly. But George Ware among many who've been slowed down by around about 50, 60 Chelsea supporters, as you say, who've managed to find out where Chelsea are staying. It's their lucky hotel. 3 times they've been here before and 3 times they've been successful on trips to Wembley. And it's a busy afternoon for this hotel because they've got 2 weddings coming up later this afternoon. George Ware just holding them up. We've not seen Gianluca Vialli all morning, in fact. Just 1 or 2 players had a walk around the grounds beforehand. And I'm sure there will be a tremendous round of applause for Vialli when he does come out of the team hotel. A substitute, remember, the last time they played. Now, here comes little Dennis Wise. He, hopefully, those fans believe, will be lifting the trophy again this afternoon. And he will be hoping, especially, that they win so that he can avoid coming back early for the Intertoto Cup. A number of the Chelsea squad, of course, will be involved in the European Championships during the summer, which will cause further complications if Chelsea do have to go into that competition. Sadly, a number of these supporters I spoke to haven't actually got tickets for the game, so this is as close as they will get to the action today. They're all heading off home to watch the game on Sky Sports, all hoping that their team can win the cup again. And many believe that a victory will just about salvage the season for them. Defeat would leave it as really a disappointing campaign. We think just a month ago they were so close to the semi-finals. There's Gwyn Williams, and we still await Vialli, and we await the departure of the Chelsea FA Cup final bus.
Luca's on board. He's probably sneaked in the back door, hasn't he, when nobody's watching. It is a day, of course, when the various stars turn out, and Claire Tomlinson is amongst them for us today. Claire.
Hi Richard, welcome back to the FA Sponsors Village here at the Wembley Conference Centre. I'm joined now by a man who won 2 FA Cup finals. It's West Ham legend Billy Bonds. Billy, 1975 and 1980, which of those wins gave you the most satisfaction?
Possibly the 81, I think. We were red-hot favourites for the 75 one, but in 80 we were a second division side, and obviously we beat a very good Arsenal side, so I think possibly the 81.
Now, I read somewhere that you actually cost West Ham £62 a match. What sort of value is that for a player?
That's not bad value, is it? I think the thing is, I signed very cheap for West Ham. Obviously, I think it was 49 grand or 50,000, and obviously I played a hell of a lot of games. But no, it's good value. I mean, it's a good buy, I think, by Ron Greenwood.
We're looking at FA Cup memories today. Tell us about that trip up Wembley Way, being in that coach and seeing all the fans to the build-up to the game.
Well, I think clear the whole thing, you know, the coach ride to the game, going out and the crowd hits you, you know, the noise. I think it's something you dream about as a kid, you know, and you just can't really put it into words how you feel on the day. You just feel 10 feet tall. It's something you used to practice in the park, going up and lifting the cup. I actually did it twice, and you know, it was a great honour to do it, and memories that will stay with you all your life.
OK, Billy, thanks for joining us today. Enjoy the game. That's it from us here for now. We'll see you in a minute.
He's right, isn't he? We've all fallen asleep as young men, dreaming about getting our hands on the FA Cup and the preparation that goes into it. That coach journey, Graham, from the time they leave the hotel now, what's going through players' minds, managers' minds, coaches' minds?
Well, it's interesting they're not left, Gianluca's not left the hotel yet. You find that football players and managers are very superstitious. And on match day they go through the same routines, don't they? They've always got something different. I mean, I can think of...
Aha, he's shown you, mate. There he is.
You'll have been paying the phone bill as well for the rest of them. The manager always gets that on his toes. Yeah. But you find that players are extremely superstitious. I can remember Bruce Grobler. He had a superstition. He had to get the ball and half volley it against the dressing room wall and knock the lights off before he got on the pitch. And he wasn't the best half volleyer of the ball, and sometimes it was pretty close to kick-off. He used to start about 1:30, but... He always had to do that, and you find that players, they'll put one boot on first, and tie one sock first. Crazy thing.
Was he always like that as a player? It's a relationship yours and his that stretches back many years, isn't it?
He was a worrier. He's a worrier. And you know, obviously I've not worked with him or seen him work close up as a manager, but I would imagine he's a real worrier in management. He was as a
player. Had a haircut. That's obviously.
He was very conscientious as a player.
Twice a day shaves.
Twice a day shaves his hair.
But you know, he's so thorough, Luca, in his preparations that he doesn't. He always says, "Don't leave anything to chance," you know, and he's like that himself. He feels totally responsible for everybody's preparations, really.
Although I worked with him when he was only a young boy, he'd only be 19, 20, 21. He wasn't a confident boy.
Good-looking young boy, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he used to stand in front of the mirror and say, Charlie, because I called him handsome. And he'd stand in front of the mirror and he had lots of hair then. And the great fear was that he was going to lose his hair because his dad had lost it. And he used to brush this and he'd say, Charlie, am I handsome? And I would say, handsome, you are handsome. He'd say, Charlie, you're right.
Just in case you're wondering, Villa are on the way too. There is movement at Villa's Hotel. Sorry, Andy.
Well, I was going to say, when the last time that we were here in the Cup, when we played Manchester United, again in '94, Ron got Stan Boardman on the coach. You know, and that was Ron's way to go completely away. Rather than let you have your thoughts on the way to the game and thinking about the game, you know, Stan Boardman was cracking jokes from the second the hotel pulled out to it arrived at Wembley. Then came in the dressing room.
Does he know that many, Stan?
Yeah, exactly.
Only a 10-minute journey.
We'd only heard, but and then literally it got to like 2:30, and in the end we had to say, Stan, can you shut up? We've got to go out and play a game.
Chelsea are on the way, and Aston Villa are moving. So
the one thing they do have, they'll all have their seats on the coach. Andy will know, and Graham will obviously know. Everyone likes to sit in the same seats. If you're talking about superstitions, it's sort of familiarity as far as that's concerned. They all like to, you know, there'll be a couple of card games going on maybe just to take their mind off the game. But no, they'll be focusing.
They'll be your chef and everyone else playing with their money that you've handed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's check out round 5. A round, of course, that Benito Carboni seriously left his mark on.
What turned our season, really, I think, was that home game against Leeds, where we were behind.
Schuberi and Bakker almost getting in each other's way, and Hart strikes it!
And that was snatched from the jaws of defeat, kind of by Carboni, and like the amazing approach play of the team.
His ball in, knocked across by Watson to Carboni! Hart, nice layoff. McPhail curling one in, and a goal! Here's Carboni. Ambitious, but worth it! And a quite stunning goal from Benito Carboni brings Villa level for the second time in this contest. And Merson goes through. Carboni! It's incredible!
This Leeds game really swung it, that optimism of like being able to turn a game with like amazing skill and like you know, entertain the crowd at the same time, whether you're a neutral or a Villa fan. You know, that was what gave, I'm sure, a lot of the team faith in the skill that they've always had and faith that we can see it through.
I think we played particularly well against Leicester, which was something that we had never done before. But I think we prepared for the game in the best possible way. All the players were up for it, and I think we played well, and we deserved to win the match.
Wow, terrific header. Goal! It's gone in for Poyet. But no surprise that the assist comes from Weah.
Well, the key of victory is go there with determination, play good football, you know, try to win, you know, do everything, you know, put in everything. You know, if you can get 110%, give it.
Wow! That's it. Chelsea into the quarter-finals.
Chelsea are on the way. Aston Villa about to leave. Villa and fan. There was more at the Chelsea Hotel, wasn't there? I think they're I think they're waiting for the manager.
So you're only saying that because you're a Coventry fan. There's plenty to the left, we just can't see them.
They're all this side of the camera.
They're all on the camera work.
Just watching that, Andy, you said as Carboni lashed in the third against Leeds United,
yes,
that was a significant round for them. Was that the key round?
For me it was, definitely, because, again, had they have lost that game to the Leeds team that were flying very high, they weren't overconfident at that time, the Villa lads, but they clawed that game back. And I think that was the key game, that certainly as regards to bringing them here today. But in their preparation for this game, that made their season so much stronger. Turning that game round, kept them involved in the FA Cup. And I felt that that was a key result for them.
Andy, would the Villa look back on the replayed game against West Ham as a turning point in their season?
That's a
very good question.
That is a very good question.
You know, because if I'm right in remembering, I think the pressure was on then, on John.
Yeah.
And then what happened at West Ham, they get a second bite, they're always going to win a second game. Villa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, and from that would be, if they end up winning this trophy today, I think, or put another way, when John signed his contract last week, his new contract, I bet he looked back to that night at West Ham and said, that might have been a turning point.
It's just when I look at the two teams today, and I'm not discounting obviously Chelsea in any way, shape or form because they have so much quality. It's just a lot of things have happened in Villa's season this year that
there's a name on it.
Yeah, exactly. It just to me, it just seems to be this is going to be their year. You know, there's been the build up for Chelsea this week. There's uncertainty around some of their key players. Now, whether that's going to have an effect on them, we don't know. We'll find out. I just feel that for Villa, they sort of stumbled out of one situation into another, turned it all round, are quite strong right now, and I think they're going to be right up for it.
Manager's paid the phone bills, Graham. He's on board. Either that or he's missed the bus, quite literally.
Quite possibly.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah, you see.
That's the cameraman.
That's the cameraman, Glenn. Is he finished now, the cameraman?
Chelsea are en route. Aston Villa are leaving their team headquarters. Time to meet the referee, Graham Poll. Nick Collins spent all day yesterday with him.
A sharp haircut for a sharp referee. Well, that's what Graham Poll will be thinking.
You sure you don't want a David Beckham haircut?
You're right, I don't.
This afternoon's game, the culmination of a 20-year refereeing career which began with Walmer Green Rangers reserves 1,142 games ago.
Just over 6.5 million paying spectators have paid to come in and watch games I've controlled, so it's lots and lots of special memories, and I think I've upset pretty much every one of those 6.5 million.
Even his eyebrows have been trimmed. Yes, nothing is being left to chance for the big day.
It's the fulfilment of a dream. I'm delighted to be leading the teams out this year. In previous years, the referee has been at the back, coming out after the teams, and this year they're following FA Cup regulation, which is nice, to actually let me lead the teams out, and that will just be fantastic feeling, I'm sure. I think I'll get my thoughts together. I'll probably lose it at that point. I've obviously done the Charity Shield there, so I'm aware of the feelings. I kind of lose it at that point and get it back. I will sing the national anthem for all I'm worth to really try and clear the nerves away from my system. And then really once we call the captains up, it's another game.
Poll's first Premiership game was at the Dell in '93. Out came the red card that day, Sheffield United's David Tuttle getting his marching orders. He was in the middle for the '98 Charity Shield, so Wembley holds no fears, though his first cup final memory isn't such a happy one. Sunderland in '73.
As a 9-year-old boy, I was a Leeds fan for some reason, probably because they were winning. And it was billed as a training match for them, and I was there with my hat and my scarf in front of the television and cried my eyes out at the end when they got beaten 1-0. I have to say the next season I moved on to support a different team.
Not Chelsea though, as some have mischievously suggested, but Queen's Park Rangers. Now his style of haircut may have changed slightly over the years, but his refereeing philosophy remains the same. Get the big decisions right.
We're making, a couple of hundred decisions every game, and I think you'll find that there's maybe 3 or 4 that are wrong. So that's not a bad percentage, and I think if businessmen were making that kind of percentage correct call, they'd be more than happy.
You happy with the cut again at the moment?
It's early days.
No thoughts of dyeing the hair like the Romanians did in the World Cup?
It'd be difficult to know the colour to dye it to remain completely impartial, wouldn't it? But probably black, and I'm happy. Blondes have more fun.
And Graham Poll is at Wembley too. 1 or 2 snaps for the memory. Graham Souness is with us. Good ref, Graham. Should he be seen and not heard?
Well, we'll have to accept the game's change. You know, there's more publicity surrounding football, and obviously the referees are a big part of football. I've got a feeling that if a referee is doing his job properly, you shouldn't notice him. And I think, you know, we now have referees who have agents and they see themselves as personalities in their own right. And that worries me a wee bit. You know, they are an important part of the game, but
although
I think they have to be very careful.
I accept that, but to defend the referees, you fellas are always asking for them to be more human and to be more part of the game. And there's a fellow, Graham Poll, particularly, who's trying to do that.
I'm not a critic of referees in our country because I've worked abroad and I know what bad refereeing is. I'll say it again, I've said it to you before on programmes. I believe our refereeing is the best in the world. But let's not get carried away. They have to make sure they don't get carried away.
43 years since Aston Villa last played in the FA Cup final. It has been a very long journey, and here's one family determined to enjoy the trip.
For one Villa fan and his family and friends, there's only one way to travel today. This car component worker decided to splash out on a cup final stretch limo.
Wembley! To Gregor's Army and we're going to Wembley.
Are you all looking forward, first of all, to the journey down to
Absolutely.
London?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you all confident about the match?
Yes.
Aston Villa are underdogs, though. You don't mind that?
No, it suits us down to the ground.
Yeah. Alan, tell us why you had this idea of hiring a stretch limo.
Well, I thought, it's been like 43 years, I thought, let's do something special. I want something for the kids to remember, my wife and friends to remember. And I thought, best way of doing it style, let's get down in the limo.
You've got the glasses there, the champagne glasses. Are you going to be using those after the match, do you think?
Well, we're going to celebrate whatever. I mean, win or lose, we're going to celebrate the day of actually getting there. And just fingers crossed we're going to do it.
You've got the TV as well. Watch the replay of the match if you like on the way back.
Yeah, hopefully.
And you work in the car component industry in the Midlands, don't you? And that's been through a hell of a time, hasn't it, recently?
It has. I'm a diesel fuel injection specialist in Erdington. And obviously what's happening with the Rover and this, that and the other, it's going to affect all of us in the Midlands. And hopefully we'll pull through and this Rover takeover, things will start to pick up again.
So is this an extra boost for you?
Of course, yeah. Let's hope things get better for everybody in the Midlands.
Morning everyone, so where are we off to?
Wembley! So at least one set of Aston Villa fans are heading south today in style as well as expectation. After 43 years of waiting, the 2-hour journey will at least be in comfort.
That's the magic of television. It passed like that. They've made it. Champagne glasses and all for winning, or whatever. Who knows? But there's a lot of drama to unfold at Wembley Stadium yet today. 1957, Villa's last final, when Lennon and McCartney performed for the first time in Liverpool. Shouldn't be forgotten, it is their 10th FA Cup final appearance. It is Chelsea's 6th, and there is nothing like winning it.
When I went up to get the cup, I really couldn't tell you whose hand I shook or whatever. I just wanted to get my hands on that cup, turn around to the crowd and just stick it up there and just show them the cup, and then the feeling you get back from that is just unbelievable.
You wouldn't believe when we were running around with that cup, you know, how many tears there was coming down the eyes of the Liverpool supporters. You know, that's one thing that will always be in my mind.
Wembley Way busier now than it was an hour or so ago. The gates open in 5 minutes. Some good players on view today, but I tell you what, they wouldn't fancy mixing it with these two. We'll be meeting them next. Wembley Stadium for us this afternoon here on Sky Sports 2, and for Sky Digital viewers the game will be interactive. That's a world first from Sky Sports, the FA Cup final, interactive. And circling high above Wembley Stadium, James Peplow, pilot, Dave Manton, cameraman. They'll be with us all afternoon. 6 hours they can stay there, so we'll keep them till the final whistle, I would have thought. Next week it's Hampden for the Scottish Cup final, Aberdeen against Rangers. We start at 2:30 on Sky Sports 1. Today it's Villa against Chelsea here on 2, and as I said, for Sky Digital viewers, interactive on Sky Sports Extra, that's channel 404. Claire Tomlinson's been with 1 or 2 cup winners already today. She's another. Claire.
Hi Richard, I'm joined now by the Arsenal skipper Tony Adams. Tony, midweek cup disappointment, but you've got some great Wembley memories, particularly from '93 and more recently '98.
Yeah, some happy times here at Wembley. We completed the double here in '98, like you say, and I was here obviously when Andy Linnigan got the winner in '93. And yeah, thanks for reminding me about the disappointment as well. Thank you.
That's no problem. A sad day here at Wembley. If this is really the last cup final, it's got an aura about it, the old place.
I love it. I first came here in '81. I watched my cousin play here, Steve McKenzie, score a fabulous goal against Tottenham. Unfortunately, they didn't win that day. And I'm going to go watch my good mate Paul Merson play today. But I love this. The Twin Towers, very special, and I've got some great memories here.
You've played against both today's finalists, Aston Villa and Chelsea, obviously this season. Tell us what the strengths of each is, perhaps starting with Chelsea.
Strengths. I think they're a very, very solid outfit. I think they've got a lot of experience, and I think it's going to be vital these occasions. Players that have been on this stage before have big advantages. So Chelsea, on paper, I think are the tip, and I've got to say that because I live in the Chelsea area as well, so I've got to be very careful. But I'd like to see maybe Paul score. Paul's. My friend Paul Merson's he's had a fabulous back after the season. When he got into the team, he kind of turned Aston Villa's season round for him. And they've been playing some great football, and they got the centre back in, and they're going to have big games. Gareth Southgate and Hugo today. They're capable of doing that. If they play well defensively, I think Aston Villa have got a good chance.
OK, Tony, thanks for joining us. Richard, it's back to you in the studio.
So the route to Wembley, to the quarter-finals now. Then it was Everton for Aston Villa, Gillingham for Chelsea.